Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Rebuild Reality. I don't know why I like to do that. I feel like I'm like going into gear, like let's go, because to me, the stuff is exciting, once you get this, because life is meant to be exciting. And once you get this, it certainly is exciting because otherwise everything is serious, everything, well, it just sucks, doesn't it? Which is why I've always wanted to come out and be there for others so that you can set yourself free too, because that's why you're here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for videos on this subject. You wouldn't be here right now if there wasn't a part of you that already knew that this was meant for you, that this is your destiny. And you're absolutely right. Now, why doesn't it work? Right? Why is it so hard? Why does it seem to the 3D mind that it's like, it seems like so crazy and so all over the place, there's so many different ideas and so many different opinions and so many different everything. So if we break it down to its most essential qualities, its most essential steps, this is what it is. We're meant to be here to, one, choose. Choose what you want. Decide what you want to have, what you want to be, what you want to experience. Your role is to be the chooser in this experience. And then when you are, that's your responsibility basically done. Because this is when the other part of you takes over, right? Because we know that there's just, a part of you here. We all know that this is not all of it. It's not all what it seems to be, and it never has been. That's why we've always been looking. That's why 3D doesn't make sense, because you're like, well, this can't be it. This can't be the whole story. Like, why would I ever come here for that? Why would I ever come here to just like suffer and die and then that was it? It's just not even logical. It doesn't even make sense. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't make any sense at all, because that's not the way that it works. So you're just meant to, this part of you here in this experience is only meant to basically be along for the ride. You decide where you want to go. Here you are in Wonderland, where you can have anything you want. Absolutely anything, any experience, any whatever you can think of, that's what you're supposed to have, because you're on this incredible ride at the most incredible Disneyland ever. So your job is choose it. What do you want? Decide what you want. And that's what the whole I am is, right? Because you're making the declaration, I am XYZ, I am this, or I am that, or I have this, or I have that. I am the person who has those things, or that thing. And then the other part of you that we all know exists, that, cultures and the world, everything in the world has been talking about since our perception of time began. It's in everything. Every single culture on this planet has the story of creation, has the story of another power, a bigger power. That's what it's all about, right? So that's the other part of you. And when you choose something, then that part takes over. That's its job, is to get it for you, is to create a story, create an unfolding where that comes into your experience, where you kind of roll, on that ride, like you're on a ride, and it's like, you just said you want it. So now it's like, it's all being prepared, in your perception of over here, because of course everything's just here and now, but it's all about the story. It's all about the experience. It's all about the ride. So in the ride, there's a beginning, and we're going to a destination, so after that, it's just the unfolding. All you have to do after you choose and decide what you want is stand in it. That's what the whole I am is about. That's what we talked about the I, right? How the I am, so I am all important. I am all important. That's why you need to look at yourself. That's why through all these different ancient societies, secret societies, it was always the eye of Horus, the eye at the top of the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill, the eye on the hand of Fatima. It is the eye. That's why it's the eye, because it's pointing at back here. That's why in scripture, Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you, back here, back here. The kingdom of heaven is within you, back here, back here. It's not out there. That's the illusion. It's all about the I, or as we say, the I am. I am blah, 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 whatever you want to insert there. That's your job. That's all the effort you're really here to do. The rest is you're just supposed to enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. The other part of you takes over and makes the happening stuff behind the scenes. All right, everybody, behind the scenes, all this stuff is happening, and you're still on stage. You're still on stage here in 3D, waiting for the new cast to come in, for the new backdrop to fall down, to the next scene to occur. And all you have to do is just be for a minute. Just be like, nope. So anything else that happens in between point A and quote unquote point B, when you get it, is anything you don't like that happens. So a lot of times, as we know, stuff that's completely contradictory. It's like, well, that's exactly what I didn't want. That's completely the opposite of what I wanted. Because things, when we do this, what happens is that things begin to move. Things begin to shake. Things begin to get turned upside down. But that is a fantastic sign, because that proves that things are changing. Even if you see, like, let's say you wanted your SP and you walk around the corner and they're making out with somebody else, you turn around and you're like, the 3D you wants to freak out, because it's like, that's happening to me. But you don't claim it. You just are like, it's just going by. Stuff is popping in and out of existence. And this is when you look into quantum physics, that's literally exactly what happens with matter, is it literally pops in and out of existence. There, not there, not there. That's the action taking place. Our perception sees it as a solid thing, but it's not solid in the slightest. So as we go along, all these things can pop in and out, and it's like, no, I'm driving down, going to my destination. You're just sitting there on the ride. It's like those rides in those, everyone's been, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have been to like an amusement park, and you're just sitting in the seat and you're just getting taken somewhere, right? And that's basically what this is like. You're just, yep, I'm in my seat, the seat of power, the seat of I am, and I am being taken to my destination, like the king, or however you want to view it, the creator of your world. You're being taken there because you've commanded it. That's what it is. When you declare it, it is a command. I am XYZ, whatever you want to insert there. That is a command. That's a declaration. So when stuff comes up and starts being counter to that story, that you're like, well, that's not what I said I wanted, that's not what I said I am, then it's not meant for you. Then that's some other story floating by, floating like a bird, right? So we just let it go. You don't pick it up, because if you pick it up and go, then you just accepted it as part of your story. It's like a puzzle piece. You just put it in your storyline, and you don't want to do that. So all the things that happen that we don't want, it's like, not my problem, because it's not my world. That's not my world. Nope, that's not my world either. Nope, that's not. Nope, I'm going this way. I'm going to my world, not any of that other stuff. So that's literally, I think, what is really meant by being in the world, but not of it, because you're not attaching yourself. You're just letting it flow by, because you're like, nope, next stop. Nope, not my stop. You know what I mean? It's not my stop. I'm not going to get off here on that reality. I'm not going to get off the ride and to this reality, because that's not my stop. That's not where I belong. I'm continuing to my destination, to where you actually belong. So, because the 3D mind, when it sees these things, a lot of times it becomes desperate. totally desperate to get in there and do something because it thinks it's the one making things happen, but it's not. So that's why we get stuck in all these affirmations and stuff like this and techniques for so long, because you don't actually need them at all. If you do them and they make you feel good, sure. But do you need it? No. Just declare it. That's it. I've said. And it happens. Why? Literally because you said so. 3D mind can't be that simple. 3D mind only knows separation, it only knows difficulty because it doesn't see how things really work. That's why it's so hard for it. But it was never meant to be hard. It's only hard for that. It thinks that everything is a struggle. That's why there's, the survival of the fittest and king of the mountain and, winner takes all and only the strong survive. It's like, yeah, in your world, if we do things your way, then that's what's going to happen, But if we do things the way they're meant to be done, then that doesn't happen. So whenever the 3D mind is like, you got to freaking get in here. You got to get in here right now and do something. It's like the 3D mind isn't meant to rule you, it's just like a helper. It's not supposed to, because it doesn't know. It doesn't know. And that's so been proven, hasn't it? If you really look at it in your life, it's like, okay, so I've been listening to you this whole time. If that was really true, if you actually knew how to get what I want, and you would have done it by now, wouldn't you have? And it hasn't, has it? Time and time and time again, it hasn't gotten you where you want to go. It hasn't gotten you what you want. So that's why when it comes up and it's like, I need you to do stuff. It's like, no, not this time, baby. Not this time. I'm standing in my knowing. I'm standing in my power. I'm standing in my am. That this is mine because I say so. End of the story. Boom. That's where that confidence starts coming up, and you start growing in that belief about yourself, because that's the truth of who you are. Otherwise, none of this really makes sense. What did you come here for, We didn't come here to suffer and then die and then that was it. Oh, great ride. Logically, it doesn't even make sense. So, and it doesn't make sense because that's not the way it works. So when the 3D mind comes up and it's like, you got to do some stuff, it's like, you just kind of detach and you just kind of look at it. You're like, huh. It's like, blah, 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 and you're like, huh. Not my story, not my world. And this time you let it go by. This time you do it another way. This time you go by the way it's meant to work. Because that's just, it's that simple. It's just the way it happens. And that's the whole point of being here. And that's why you hear about co-creating, right? It's not co-creating with somebody else. It's just co-creating with you. And we all know that there is a little part of you, the part that has like a limited awareness on purpose, so you can have the experience. Otherwise, you just know everything and there's just kind of no experience, So you come here knowing that you got that other part of you to fulfill your desires, because desires and fulfillment of those desires are two sides of exactly the same coin, which means they come together. They come in pairs. Have a desire. Why? Because it's meant to be fulfilled. That's it. That's what a desire is for. Otherwise, what's the point of having a desire if there's just no other end to it? And because we're in duality, and duality is all about opposites, up, down, here, there, left, right, on, off, man, woman, good, bad, all of it opposites. Well, then that's an opposite too. So it travels with its pair. So when we have a desire, it's strictly because it's meant to be fulfilled. You're meant to experience it. That's for you. You're supposed to have it, So This is the way that it rolls. It's just that simple. It's just that easy for us, which is, you know, the most amazing thing ever, isn't it? And when you get to that place and you're like, wow, so none of this is real. Like, really, like, seriously, none of this is real. When we look at it from a scientific perspective, from a 3D, even in 3D, even 3D says it's not real. That's why there's those guys, and I mentioned a few times before in 2022, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for proving it, that objective reality is not real. So what's the difference? You got objective, you got subjective. Subjective is your personal experience, what you think is real. You know, I didn't see anybody there. Well, there was. It's on the camera. I didn't see them. It's because that's your subjective, what you think is going on. Objective is, okay, let's actually put it to the test. Let's look at it from out here. Let's look at the data. Let's, do these things. Oh, what do you know? Actually, the reality is it's not really real. It's just in this 3D suit, it appears to be real, which has got to be like the greatest, if this is just one creation of who you are, like, we can't even fathom, what else it is that we can do here. So being in this creation is meant to be the most amazing experience ever. And so many of these things are becoming bigger and bigger and more amazing and more incredible creations all the time, because they're meant to be. When you wake up, when you begin to wake up to all these things, the stuff that starts to show up is going to blow your mind. Absolutely freaking blow your mind. When we see reality, it's like, that subjective viewpoint is like, look, I found a big chunk of gold. I found a chunk of gold. And then, the objective comes in and looks at it and was like, that's a bottle cap? No, it's a piece of gold. It's a piece of gold. And they hand it back to you and you're like, oh. And that's what this reality is. It's like, we're so positive it's real. You look at all the data, not one single bit of it is real, which is why we can change all of it, which is why it's movable, which is why we can mold it and create it into anything we want. That's the game. That's the play. That's the fun of it. So choose what you want. Choose who you want to be. Choose what you want to have. If you want to be a character, be a character. Do anything you want. If you want to be the one and only, the creator of it all, knowing yourself as I am the one, because you are the one, then be that. Be anything you want to be and then stand in it. And nothing else. I don't care how long it takes. Because people, like, after a few days or after a few weeks, or maybe I didn't do it right, or maybe I need to do these other techniques, or that one just wasn't one that worked. No. You're in the unfolding and you got to stay there. No matter what, I get what I want. Because that's the way it's meant to be. You know it. Because like I said, otherwise you wouldn't be here looking for it. If you didn't already know it was meant for you. If you didn't already know that it existed. If you didn't already know that this is your destiny. That's why you're following the breadcrumb trail, because you are meant to be here. And this belongs to you. So, this is cool, isn't it? It's fun. Reality creation, waking up to who you really are, just as you're always meant to. This is where it gets cool. This is where the fun begins, you guys. So, I got lots more really cool stuff to tell you guys, to talk about. So we live here in this world together and we have a great time. And I'm going to see you here next time.